The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Live tonight from the Bristol Motor Speedway, LSR TV with you to say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round number 5 of the 2018 American Pool Supply Truck Series, powered by the Championship Esports Association from Thunder Valley, as we go short track racing tonight on your home for sim racing and iRacing Live. We're happy that you are with us for tonight's Bristol 200. As always, upstairs on a Sunday night, myself, Evan Pizzoco, alongside with Trevin Valderrama in the LSR TV booth. The lovely and talented Cisco Scaramouche is downstairs. He's twisted and tweaking the dials, bringing us to you this evening. Trevin, coming off of what was a very exciting short track bout of our own just 2 weeks ago from USA International Speedway. Championship leader into tonight, Seth the Merchant, running on back-to-back trips to victory lane. But there is very little that is going to be guaranteed about tonight aside from chaos. Bristol is always an unpredictable one, and we have 200 laps of battle coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a fantastic race going on 2 weeks ago, rather, from USA International Raceway, a rather unique track on the schedule, but we're back here at actual NASCAR track, and these trucks know how to get around here, and these guys are just going to be amazing to watch all night long. It's going to be 200 laps of, close racing all the way around, and, this track is very high banked as opposed to USA International, so tires are going to be kind of a concern here. It's a different type of surface as well, and we'll be talking about gas mileage throughout the race.
Seth Merchant comes into tonight at the top of the championship, 550 points to his name overall. That gives him a 49-point advantage in the championship standings. Back to Christian Peterson with the win as well. Those are the only drivers who have found victory lane so far this season. Tyler Dalton, Derek Paulson, Kenny Lowry through the top 5, with Caldwell, Tungate, Vickery, Ryan, and Dean through the top 10. Tonight's race number 5 of 30 on this 2018 campaign, so there is still a long way to go. But like I said, anytime you head out to Bristol, Tennessee, it is surefire to be a good one, and we're happy that you're hanging out with us on a Sunday evening. That being said, trucks are down trackside. Let's go down and take a look at tonight's LSR TV starting grid. Pole position you to go to Tommy Ryan. Drivers had to requalify for this one at a 14.579, puts Ryan on pole, just edging out Devin Morgan, who will roll off in second by 5/1000ths of a second. Back on row 2, you'll find Seth the Merchant starting third. Matt Tucker will lead off at 4th. And Christian Peterson, the fast cars up front, he rounds out the top 5.
Starting P6 is the number 56 of Brandon Wilkinson. Derek Paulson starting P7. William Kemp starting P8. P9 goes to Kyle Manger. And rounding out your top 10, John McNaka.
Eddie Lowry just behind there, just mentioned his name, one of the top 10 runners in the points. He starts 11th tonight, accompanied on the outside RO6 by the 14 Dustin Dean, who starts 12th. Gabe Wood, he gets tonight's unlucky number 13 starting spot. We'll see what the 00 can do as he starts with Sean Cross alongside him at 14th, and John Lyday is 15th.
Starting P16 is Dwight Beverly. P17 goes to Matthew Murphy. P18, Randy Yoakum. P19, Nicholas Caldwell. And P20, Christopher Hussey.
Don Theodore is going to be back in 21st position. James Milbachler starts in 22nd. 23rd is Ryan Howard. Tom Morano 24th. And Reese Baum in 25th.
CJ Mason goes to P26. P27 is credited to Travis Powell. Tyler Lugo Vickery, P28. P29, James Grahula. And P30 goes to Paul Henley.
On a couple of cars to round out the provisionals, top 28 drivers took a time into qualifying, 29th on the back provisional starting spots, and it'll all include 31st position for Jeff Ryan, 32nd Jeremy Watkins, and Bo Givens, slated to start all the way at the tail end of the field in 33rd position. The cars now roll on the Paris track. It'll be lights off the next time around. Gives us a little bit of an opportunity to talk about this Bristol Motor Speedway. It has many nicknames: Thunder Valley, the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile, and the Bull Ring. All very much fit this half mile racetrack. We're going to go race it, as they noted, 200 laps at this point, 533 mile oval, going to be 107 miles of action between the green and the checkered flags this evening. But the big thing that Trevor had already noted was the banking at this racetrack. 26 degrees down low, 30 degrees up top. You are throwing yourself into the quarter, and it is not a lot of real estate. This is a racetrack where tempers start to flare. I know we're only 5 weeks in to this 2018 season, but if we're lacking any rivalries, maybe we'll just have an opportunity to walk out of here with a couple of different names jotted down. That being said, pace car in this time. As always, happy that you're with us on a Sunday night at LSR TV into iRacing Live. Field going to be in the hands of the number 6 Chevrolet of Tommy Ryan. It's going to be a slow restart at 40 mile an hour pace speed at a quarter number 4 as we look for the American Ethanol green flag, and we're racing from Bristol. Lap 1 at 200 underway, and it is a battle for the race lead. First time, look early to see what line develops as the preferred lane, inside or out.
Tommy Ryan having a strong start in the inside. We talked a lot about him at USA International Speedway, so expecting great things from him, as well as Seth the Merchant. Always talking about him up front. We'll see how he battles back from all the way from 4th position as Devin Morgan takes the lead coming into turn number 3 for lap 2. Tommy Ryan trying to make that high groove work in the middle, or in the entrance, and then middle on the exit. So we'll have to see how that works out for him throughout the race.
Obviously, the big thing right off for the restarts is that you need to get some separation. Side-by-side racing is part of Bristol. It's what makes it so exciting, but the less double file you've got, the better off you're going to be. Side-by-side inside of the top 10 right now. Battle between William Kempf in 7th, Kenny Lowry at 8th position. That's the 09 and the 54 respectively. They're side-by-side as they come down the back straightaway. You see the 3 truck behind him, but John Bignaka trying to find a way by. And 3 wide, definitely not something you want to play with. So if you got a set of 2x2 in front of you just kind of have to sit back and see what happens. The 54 working hard on the bottom, but the 09 up on that preferred groove. Looks like he's going to get it. Kempf does, and a smart move by Lowry. Instead of trying to force the issue, going back to the inside, he tucks back up in line, and it will maintain in P8.
100 laps seems like a lot of time here at Bristol, but at a 0.5 mile of a track, it's going to go by super quickly. We're already closing in on lap 10, and these drivers are going to have to find their way around, and it's a very repetitive track. You know, you're going to have to find your groove going in. As you see, all these drivers are already single filed out throughout the top 10. So these guys are really starting to find their groove, and it's really starting to get repetitive on them. As you see the number 3 of John Mignaka going on the undercarriage of the number 54 of Lowry, trying to get a move down on him, but that high side is really prevailing right now. We're going to have to see how this track changes with the dynamic track throughout the rest of this race. And you see the 09 getting up into the wall a little bit. We're going to be seeing that a lot with cars brushing the wall as they're trying to maintain that high line, that Kyle Larson line, as I like to call it. But we'll have to see how these drivers adjust throughout the rest of this race.
And you can see the sparks came showering down on the trucks behind Kempf there, single file inside of the top 10. Lap around Bristol Motor Speedway doesn't take all that long. You're looking at about 4 laps every minute or so. So a 200-lap race is very physically enduring. Obviously, you don't... That's not the first thing I think that comes to mind when you think about sim racing, but the straightaways here, you're not on them for much more than 3-4 seconds, and well, stressful to go through restart. We'll have one. Caution flag is out. A couple of trucks spinning. This 4 machine, James Carhula, first one that jumps out. It's a bright yellow Chevrolet, but the problems actually started up in front of him for the first yellow flag on the evening. We'll take a look at this one on the LSR TV replay. The 32 machine of Christopher Hussey is the one who got up into the outside wall. And then at that point, again, just a simple accordion effect. Not enough real estate for everybody else to avoid. And it was very slow, but final spin for the Ford truck as he ended up going all the way around. So a quick yellow, just as I was talking about folks trying to spread things out. We slow him down at lap 11.
Yeah, and absolutely. And if anything were to happen in the corners, we talked about the banking being so high. It's going to be hard for those drivers if they did crash and get into the wall. It's going to be hard for them to keep it up high as the banking's so high. It's going to be coming down on them. So, you have to watch out for that as well. You have to be able to make quick maneuvers as, drivers you see right here. And it's a very thin track. It's not one of the more wider tracks on the circuit. So, you have to find your way around wrecks very quickly because there's not a lot of time to react.
And just the way that this Bristol Motor Speedway race is, you throw it down into the corner, that truck is going to push all the way up the hill. You would think that all of that banking really helps with the lateral grip, but it does to an extent. These guys can really toss it into the corner, but they push up and up and up the hill, and that's how you get somebody into the outside wall. The car next in line does the same thing, pushes up into said truck, and that's how you get one of those accordion effects like we had just seen. So an early yellow in this one. 32 drivers took the green flag in this one. Everybody besides Kyle Banger, who is supposed to start this one in 9th position, was able to start this race. He has not taken to the racetrack and can't find a reason. Looks like he received a throughput fall to an unacceptable level, so he's working on getting himself back into the session. But even if he can, he's already the 14 laps down into which people have run, so a tough break from Anger. And then Derek Paulson in the 5 truck dropped out of this race early, was not involved in an accident. The driver who started 7th retired after 9 laps of competition, and he has not returned to the racetrack. So that's how we sit with 31 trucks at a lead lap at a moment. Lights still on top of the pace car as we cycle things around. No need to worry about the pit lane quite yet in this one, so your race leaders staying put.
Yeah, we have 200 laps as we were talking about earlier. You did say it's going to be physically demanding. It doesn't really seem like a lot when you're just sitting there and turn the wheel, but when you're an actual driver and you're fighting around a whole bunch of other cars trying to make yourself threatening to the rest of the cars, it's a lot of wheel work and your arms get very tired after a few laps. So we have to watch for that as well to see how these drivers respond to that. So, this is a physically demanding track, so we're going to have to see how these drivers progress throughout the rest of this race. Coming to the green flag next time by.
Yeah, lights go out on top, but of course, the physically demanding part, not as much as fighting the wheel per se with the force feedback, and that it's just you're so tense because you can't really take a deep breath anywhere, so you're tensed up, and you're tensed up for an hour and a half racing like this. It can definitely get sore on these guys, so they enjoy these quick yellow flag breaks, but Devin Morgan up front now as we swap things around. He is going to be on the outside of the front row. Tommy Ryan back down on the inside of the racetrack, so just as they were, but Morgan is the control truck up on the outside of the racetrack, chose that outside line, and we'll see what he does as he brings us back to the American Ethanol green flag this time by, puts the right foot down. We're back racing from Bristol, 16 down, and the battle for the race lead non-existent. Morgan check it out. Tommy Ryan tries to hang on to P2, but here comes Seth the Merchant. He wants 3 in a row, and he moves into 2nd spot.
Seth the Merchant has been dominant this whole entire season long, and we're only expecting more great things for him to come throughout the rest of the season, as well as Christian Peterson fighting for 4th position, and we're have to see how these guys battle up all the way to the front. You see the number 23 of Christian Peterson using that lower lane throughout the turns. That's not usually something what people are doing right now, but he's trying something different, trying to get around that number 69 of Matt Cucker.
And Cucker right there tucked in line in 4th position. Peterson's forced to work down way on the inside of the racetrack. And again, it's going to be difficult to complete passes down there with the preferred lane being the outside, just because you'd have to obviously do the slide job. If there's any racetrack to do it, Bristol's the place to be, but it's a very aggressive move in order to do so. You'd be slotted up, there'd be quite a speed difference. And again, coming off of the outside of the racetrack down the corners, you get such a run. I think that is why the outside is as fast as it is. The 30 degrees of banking way up top compared to the 26 down on the bottom of the racetrack. Still fighting inside of the top 10. The United William Kemp is in another battle as that Toyota runs to the inside of the double O with Gabe Wood. Gabe Wood trying to crack into the top 10 first time tonight. They're side by side in a fight for P10.
Yeah, watching this go around, we see William Kemp on that bottom side. We were just talking, you have to do a slide job to get that pass, but I'm liking seeing these other drivers try to do something different other than that high line, try to get that bottom line rubbered in a little bit more. and trying to find a different way around, because if these guys keep on protecting that high side, how else are you supposed to get around them without trying a different line? So I'm liking the different uses of lines here. Gabriel Wood was able to crack into that top 10 as you were talking about with that pass, but you know, as we see another battle coming up a little bit further up in the pack, Kenny Lowry on that bottom side of Brandon Wilkinson. So after watch this battle as well, you see that slide job go about, and number 56 of Brandon Wilkinson trying to cross him over, setting it up in turn number 3.
56 goes down to the inside. He'd have to clear him to complete the move. Oh, not quite. And Wilkinson all thought about it. Now contact down the back. The 56 wanted to slide out, just ran out of room. And 54 Lowry squeezes in. That's about as tight as you can get without putting both of those race trucks into the wall. And you can see Wilkinson trying it again, but can't get that extra foot he needs to clear the 54. That's where the inside is your advantage, is it's a shorter way around the racetrack in the center. You clear, and then you slide up and block off, and the 56 had it done to him, almost paid the favor back, but at the end of it all, Lowry ends up getting in front. Wilkinson drops his first spot of the race.
And looking at the front of Lowry's truck, he's got a little bit of front end damage, so we'll have to see how that plays into a factor as him, as he obviously it's not a super speedway track, but you know, damage always will play a factor inside of these cars. And you know, watching Wilkinson battle back like that, he might be burning the rubber off his tires, but you know, a good effort by him, and he realized, you know, probably not really the best move to really fight back hard and almost wreck both of them when you're only 30 laps into the race. So good choice by him to back off and, you know, watch his line that he's taking and protect his position as much as possible going into the next few laps.
30 laps down of 200, trying to get a good long green flag stretch underneath us, work some strategy in. I mentioned at the very start of it all that drivers had to requalify. Driver into the outside wall. Milbachler's around, contact with a 10, and a yellow flag is out. Jeff Ryan and James Milbachler get together, and the caution flag is going to be out at lap number 30. The 61 of Milbachler, contact with Sean Cross. He was up into the outside wall, and we talk about that running out of real estate. The 61 held it up there and then started to come back down, and obviously that was the wrong decision, and there was nothing that Jeff Ron could have done to avoid that. Racetrack was blocked.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about that again. It's a narrow track, and you know, it's going to be hard to avoid these wrecks. As I was watching the number 32 as well, I saw him out of the corner of my eye. His engine has blown, and he's parked inside a pit row right now. So I believe his night is done, but very unfortunate for him.
I think he was trying to get down to pit lane because the pit lane entrance was right there coming off of the corner. If he wasn't able to get down in time, he would have obviously had to have limped around for an entire extra lap. Would have cost him dearly. I think now, in hindsight, that would have been the better decision to make, but his thinking was, I need to get down pit road. I either go down now or I have to come to a complete stop to be able to get into the box, and well, that being said, it would have brought out a yellow anyway. So contact second time tonight. We're under the caution flag at lap number 33 from Bristol Motor Speedway. To take a quick opportunity, step aside ourselves, and we'll come back to Thunder Valley in a minute with Devin Morgan leading. You're watching the Championship Esports Association American Pool Supply Truck Series on LSR TV and iRacing Live.
The trial.
Back live from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Lights out on top of the iRacing.com official pace car as we get set to go back into green flag racing conditions in this one. Still early on, 2 quick yellows have us getting set for another restart. We'll complete 36 of 200 laps this time by, and it's going to be Devin Morgan and Christian Peterson on the front row once more. The O2 is your control truck, and he is once again, second time in a row, selected the outside line for the restart. Peterson to Burchett, only race race winners so far this year, though, have creeped into the picture and are second and third, respectively, inside of the front two rows. Devin Morgan's going to have to get out and get away from them ASAP, but it's exactly what he does as we go back green. Clear for the race lead. First time back to 1 and 2. It looks like nice and safe for Peterson in second, and Emergent going to lose one here. Tommy Ryan topside takes away third, and Cocker wants to make it -2 for Emergent, who's pinned on the inside.
You can really see the disadvantage that they have going on that bottom side and restarting there, because you can see Demerchant just lost 2 positions, soon to make it 3 positions to Lowry. But, you know, he's got to find his way up to that top spot right now. He's going to try and go up. No, he sees Lowry there. And now Matt Cucker trying to see that bottom line work a little bit better, trying to do, as you said earlier, a slide job. But we'll see how this works out for him coming into the turn. He's got a little bit of an edge on him. Maybe this time by he'll be able to pass him. But now we're starting to see that bottom line start to be used by a couple of trucks. So really starting to get 2 different lines going.
Side by side still with the 6 in to 60 Honda machine. Again, Cucker made the move on Emergent outside. Emergent's lost now 3 spots. Ryan, Cucker, and Lowry all got around the 57 before he was able to find a spot in line. But Cucker wasn't willing to stay up top. Cleared him on the outside. Sliced down to the inside of Tommy Ronald. He's trying to make something work for third. About 1.5 feet short that time. Oh, so many close calls. You can see the 60 Honda Cucker. Nice move right there. And he'll move into third. It's not taking that complete bottom line trip at about the middle of the racetrack. That way you can get the best of both worlds per se. Still get that run off the top, while also being able to undercut the exit, and Cucker inside and out to go up 2 spots on a race start to third.
Christian Peterson also trying that tactic as well in turns 1 and 2. So you see drivers starting to move their way down lower coming out of the corner. You see them go all the way down to the bottom of the track now and try to get to that side of the O2 of Devin Morgan. Less than a quarter away there, and Devin Morgan kind of gets in the wall a little bit. So, you know, you could really see the intensity ramp up for Devin Morgan trying to keep that top spot as he is running as hard as he can. But Christian Peterson so dominant this year, I don't think he'll be able to hold him off as he goes into the wall a little bit more. And now Christian Peterson's going to be able to take advantage of that. Gets a little bit further ahead, and we'll see how he does in the middle of this corner, and he's able to clear him. New leader, 23, Christian Peterson.
Matter of time, driver who started in 5th goes to the race lead at lap 46. Devin Morgan doesn't want to give this one up, but that dive at the inside of the racetrack just wasn't going to work. He entered way too low and wouldn't have had any run off for the quarter. And a Christian Peterson race winner earlier this year from Daytona International Speedway comes into tonight's race second in the points behind Seth Emergent, goes to the race lead, and now he will begin to log some laps up front. So Morgan again still in a very good position after coming into tonight, not even a driver running inside of the top 10 in the points. Bristol is one of the more difficult tracks on the surface, and clearly the O2 machine is ready to rock and roll and put on a show here tonight. Not only was he the best driver in the qualifying session, but he was also best driver in the warm-up session earlier tonight as well. So that car definitely has that short run speed, but the reason to be looked for relatively long green flag runs early on, Trevor, is because race speed, qual speed, 2 very different things, and you're going to have drivers who out-qualify where they can run during the course of the race and vice versa. So I want to see how good Morgan is on a long run, because Peterson's getting away from him and Matt Cucker's catching up quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Times from qualifying and racing are completely different because, you know, you have a different setup on your car to make your car the fastest car on the track in 2 laps, 2 or more laps, and, you know, now you're going to the race and you're going a little bit longer than 2 laps, obviously. So, you know, it's also different. It's always different when you go from qualifying to racing, as you see now. A battle for P11 shaping up. Matthew Murray trying to take advantage of Gabriel Wood kind of off his pace a little bit, falling a little bit from P10. And Matthew Murray able to complete that pass. Now the number 55 of Travis Powell going to be able to set his sights on the number, or the 00 of Gabriel Wood.
And Gabe Wood right there, who's made up a couple of spots here and there. How about Travis Powell, though, right behind those guys? The 55 Chevrolet tucked back in line there, that white truck. He is our biggest mover so far through the opening quarter of this race. Started 27th. He's up to 13th. It is a 14-position swing for the number 55 of Travis Powell. So we'll see if he can inch a little bit further forward, crack the top 10 maybe.
Yeah, we always talk about biggest movers. You know, a lot of biggest movers were happening 2 weeks ago rather, at USA International Speedway, because there were so many cautions and so many wrecks happening that people were just able to move up through the field. And Travis Powell doing a fantastic job trying to get another position on Gabriel Wood and setting his sights on that top 10 a little bit. But now, looking a little bit further up in the pack, we have a top 10 battle going on between William Kemp and Matthew Murray. Two different lines being utilized. Now they're all the way at the bottom of the track, Evan, so now we're starting to see some parts of the track getting rubbered in and starting to make for some great racing.
That's exactly what we hope to see over the course of this one. Some side-by-side stuff furthermore towards the front, but it's lap traffic that is being a factor on some of these battles for the race lead. That's one thing about Bristol, is you think that a longer green flag stretch means that things will calm down. In fact, oftentimes it's the opposite, because lap traffic is going to be a factor now until we get the next break in action. And we work on number 59. Race leader Christian Peterson just working around the likes of Lugo Vickery, Givens, Krahula, Milbachler going laps down. And as they say that, a caution flag is out. One truck spun down onto the apron, and it is Sean Cross from P20.
Yeah, absolutely. That another unique thing about Bristol. You will always be battling with somebody, whether it's somebody next to you or a lap traffic car. So that's also why I like Bristol.
Contact on this one as we get a second look. It was a battle for position. Dwight Beverly on the inside of the racetrack. Looks like he, I mean, that's a tough call. I was going to say it looked like the two had pushed up on him, but, you know, Baum comes down a little bit to make it into the quarter. I think that's about as close as you can get to a racing incident, and those two trucks just weren't able to get off each other. Both Cross and Beverly go around, and it also looked like Tom Morano's 48 picked up some damage in the aftermath of that one. So 3 trucks involved in your third caution of the evening, and we slow them down again.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was just close racing, you know, 3 wide, potentially 3 wide going into that corner. And, you know, you saw the leaders behind you, or you see the leaders behind you, and you just know it's go time, and you can't let them get to you because you don't want to be a lap down. And, you know, that's just the racing. That's how racing at Bristol goes.
Just scrolling through, seeing how many drivers lost a lap in that exchange. Givens, Cross, Krahula were the 3 drivers that got lapped on that green flag run. So I believe Givens should be able to get the lucky dog, get back to the lead lap, but nobody up front yet coming down pit road. This is basically 1/3 of the way through this race. Like I said, when you get green flag laps in, it does not take all that long to get a significant number of the laps to go off the board. So, you know, for the drivers, I think the end goal just to stay on the lead lap. I think if you can stay on the lead lap, you remain in contention, and it is Bristol, so you never know what might happen late in this race, but it is going to be quite difficult to get back from 1 lap down, just because, as we talked about how quickly you catch up to lap traffic, not going to take much more than 10, 15 laps tops maybe for the race leaders to get to the back of the field. That means that if you're a lap down, you need a yellow quick, or somebody else is going to be a lap, they're going to be in front of you, and they're going to get that lucky dog spot. So if there's one thing that I wouldn't be surprised to see is some more of those accidents, fighting for those positions like 20th or so on back, because they are trying to stay in front of one another, put as many cars between them and the race leaders that are catching up on their heels. And I think that that might have been a reason why you saw that group of trucks fighting so hard for that 20th spot when the yellow happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have explained it better myself. You know, you're always going to be battling with traffic, and you know, you see these cars coming behind you, and you want to be better than that other guy to get that, to either stay on the lap or stay on the lead lap, or get that lap, that lucky dog lap back. So you know, these guys are always going to be fighting hard, and you know, you said it was about 1/3. But still, we have 2/3 left, and anything can happen at Bristol. It's a battle royale, basically, and you do say tempers flare. So if a driver did not like an exchange that happened, he could be head hunting and give him a little tap into the corner. So we'll have to be watching for that. And now you see Christian Peterson up top and Matt Cucker down low. Both lines really starting to give in a little bit, so I don't know which lane would be better to restart on.
Definitely seeing drivers identifying places and different ways to make the moves. I think Peterson is right in choosing the outside of the racetrack, just getting up to speed. I think it still has the vast advantage, and Have the 69 of Cucker on the inside. Devin Morgan has fallen to third in this race. It'll be a Peterson-Cucker front row for the first time tonight. The 23 machine puts the hammer down. And we go back in green flag condition, 64 laps down from Bristol. Peterson cleared for the race lead. Cucker safely into second, and the trend continues back on row 2. Fourth is the better place to be because it gives you the outside line to Merchant. Leapfrogs Morgan for third.
John Lyday had a little bit of a tire spin up on that high side from that restart and tacked him up a little bit behind the leaders. But now Air Race still rolling good. So battle for that would be the 6th position, and Tommy Ryan gets past for 5th position. Excuse me.
We'll swap out there for the number 5 spot. Tommy Ryan, your pole sitter, down to a race low in P6 spot. Devin Morgan at a race low 4th. So you are starting to see, as we mentioned, the drivers who qualified very good start to struggle in traffic, and some of that could be bad luck. Like I said, if you're on the outside of the racetrack on row 2, it's better than being on the inside. That's 2 restarts in a row. The driver who was technically restarting third on the inside of row 2 lost at least 1 position because the outside was the better place to be, and Devin Morgan makes a mistake. The 0-2 smacked the wall coming off of the corner. He gets tapped by John Lott, and the 0-2 is really struggling as that race car plows off the corner. He'll lose another spot here as Lott puts the slide job on him. Beautifully executed.
That was a fantastic slide job by John Lyday. I was watching them go around a little bit more prior to that little incident that Devin Morgan had, and John Lyday was absolutely putting on that pressure every single corner. So, Devin Morgan probably saw him in his rearview mirror and, wanted to go a little bit harder coming off the corner, and he just went too hard, and that's exactly what John Lyday wanted. A little mistake for him to open up the door and take that position away.
He takes advantage of it, doesn't blink, and he moves into race high P4 for him as he continues to try to work his way through the field. 22 trucks overall still scored on the lead lap. Christian Peterson out in front. He's got a 7/10 of a second advantage over Matt Cucker, then Seth the Merchant, John Lott, as we just noted, and Devin Morgan through your top 5. You have a battle just outside of the top 10. Matthew Murphy, the 87, wants to be top 10, and he's trying to get around the 28 machine of Nicholas Caldwell in a 4-5 truck battle back here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nicholas Caldwell trying to get up to that P10 position from 20th, basically started 19th, and that'd be a good day for him, trying to get around these cars in front of them with that number 6, or excuse me, the number 8 as well. Randy Yoakum trying to do the same thing. So, these cars always have to find a different line because, you can't really be following the other car around. That's really not how you're going to be able to pass him. You got to find a different line and maybe do what John Lyday did to Devin Morgan and, continue to keep that pressure on and force him into a mistake. And maybe you'll be able to capitalize in the end.
Fighting continues in that battle, talking about the 54 of Lowry, the 56 of Wilkinson duking it out. Wilkinson took a couple of stabs at it, 4 or 5 tries on the inside, and they were all successfully fended off by Lowry. So he tucked in line. Now he'll go back to the inside of the racetrack again and try it once more. Side-by-side battle for 8th on the racetrack. Matthew Murphy's got a front row seat of all of the fun. This is just about 5 seconds off of the race leader's contact. 54 going to get tagged. He comes down, gets Wilkinson, and it is a mess down in the corner.
I was watching the battle for P10, and it was just door to door, and as soon as you said that, I started watching them harder to see how they're going to be able to avoid it, but Gabriel Wood was not able to avoid it, and he got caught up into it as well as the number 8 of Randy Yoakum. So again, we are talking about how hard it's going to be to avoid all these drivers that are up high or running down low, and we just saw a great example of that. A very unfortunate day for Randy Yoakum and Gabriel Wood.
And Wilkinson just pushed him up too high, and that put Kenny Lowry into the outside wall. He bounced down off of the wall, got Wilkinson, and was actually able to get away relatively okay. A lot of the big hits came from furthermore behind where the drivers piled into that one on the secondary market. A lot of drivers, though, down pit road. Matt Cucker, first truck in, as he gives up the number 3 spot on track. Peterson will stay out. William Kempf is also going to stay out, so he will assume the number 2 position. But Matt Cucker is going to be the highest running driver to come down to the pit lane, and he'll go for service.
Yeah, this is setting up to be a two-stop race, as you see this first one at lap 80. Projecting the next one to be at lap 160, so we'll see how this works out for them as well. You know, tires are always the most important part here at Bristol. It's easy to run these things to the ground, and you know, fresh set of tires always gives you a little more confidence going into turn number 1 on this restart, right, Evan?
Any sort of confidence that you can get helps, especially when you take a good hard look at a race like this and realize just how much of it is actually out of your control. Anything that makes you feel better is definitely going to be that little bit extra. Christian Peterson noted that he stayed out in this one. He then decided to come back down to pit road. So Peterson does go with service. That's going to cost him a lot, though, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you are the race leader right now, but you know, you have everybody else with tires behind you, and it's only going to give more benefit to them coming into the turns. And you know, maybe he's going to be able to, maybe he knows something that we don't know, and be able to hold him off a little bit more. But here he comes now, Christian Peterson down pit lane.
Yeah, so Peterson's already been in and out of pit road. He's ready to go. He'll give up a couple of spots. I just want to see when the scoring cycle through where exactly he'll be. He'll be down in 16th position for Christian Peterson. Must have decided that, hey, almost everybody else pitted besides him, and he decided that he didn't want to risk it, stay out, came down and got the service.
Yeah, I was looking at that wrong. I just saw him go down from everybody else going down pit lane, but yeah, absolutely. We also have Dwight Beverly, Ryan Howard, Derek Paulson, and Gabriel Wood all take their cars behind the wall.
A couple of drivers going to drop out of this one. Lights on top of the pace car go out, and we have a completely different running order in this race at lap number 83. William Kempf is going to go to the race lead. Believe that the Oneida machine never came down to pit road and goes for the complete stay-out strategy. Matthew Murphy in the 80. With that, so the drivers up front stayed out. First driver on fresh tires, I believe, is going to be Matt Cucker back in the number 6 position. So we've got 5 cars on old tires now all of a sudden in control of the field, and it's going to be quite a substantial difference on speed comparing the old tires to the fresh ones. So let's see how fun things can get from Bristol. 83 laps down, the green flag is out. Kemp shows the inside is clear. It'll be a fight for second.
We have to see how long it takes for those drivers P6 on back for their tires to heat up and be able to knock them off one by one. But for right now, William Kemp able to hold a good start for him, and Matthew Murphy coming right behind him into turn number 1.
Obviously, on a restart, you want to stay hot on somebody's heels, not let them get away. And William Kempf defending up front for the moment as Murphy wants to go for the race lead. Watch Devin Morgan, though, in the O2 truck. He's somebody else who has been very good so far this evening. Had a race leading pace earlier on in this one. When he rocketed out to the race lead early, Morgan came down pit road under the yellow and got 4 fresh tires. So we'll see if he can put them to use. But he's not running up on the 87 and the 09 as quick as I thought he would.
Yeah, and here comes Seth the Merchant coming and trying to take P4 away from Travis Powell, who has a great biggest mover position right now. And he's holding off pretty good for right now. And, you know, it's still side by side. And, you know, you can see him just gaining a little bit every single turn. So I have to watch for him throughout the next couple of laps. But William Kemp doing a great job holding off those drivers behind him.
The defensive game here from Bristol, and the likes of Cucker, who I thought would power through the field, still in 6th position. Seth the Merchant really having his hands full with a driver who qualified in 27th position. That's Travis Powell in the number 4 spot right now. Obviously, with the heavy damage at a 55, we watched him crawl all the way to nearly breaking into the top 5 earlier, and it's going to have to wait. Yellow flag is back out. And a couple of drivers around. Looks like turn 4 is going to be the trouble spot, and it is Sean Cross in the 83 machine up on the inside of the racetrack and around.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, already on lap 91, we're closing in on halfway. So these drivers, you already seen how much intensity has been happening, and, you know, the cautions that come from it. And, you know, you can only imagine what the next 100 laps and when it gets down to 50 or 25 laps to go will be like.
James Milbacher was the one that got tagged, spun around, got clipped by the 83, and it has us under our second yellow flag of the day. We'll take this opportunity once again to step aside. We'll go LSR TV non-stop so you don't miss a moment of the action, but it is William Kempf in front of the field, closing in on halfway home tonight for the Bristol Motor Speedway. You're watching LSR TV's coverage of the American Bull Supply Truck Series on iRacing Live.
The best late model stock drivers in the country kick off 2018.
Back live at LSR TV at iRacing Live. The pace cars down at end 5 laps from halfway home at a Bristol 200. And William Kempf tries to continue to defend the race lead. He got on that pit strategy. Green flag as we go back underway. And a quick yellow, problems in the back off of the restart. A couple of trucks around. Randy Yoakum in the 8 is the one who goes all the way around at the back of the field, and quickest yellow we've had so far tonight. And I was waiting for something to be big there, Trev. Anytime you get a yellow right off of a restart like that, it's normally not pretty. It was just the back two trucks getting together. Bo Givens got cut off by Randy Yoakum, and those drivers got together in the back of the field, and that's all it was two drivers getting together, but I thought that was going to be a lot worse. Givens is able to get away relatively okay. Of course, we saw Yoakum spin down, and he's going to hit the reset button and try it again.
Yeah, and I was just waiting for one of these things to happen, you know, right off the restart. A lot of drivers very, very eager and ready to get going, but, you know, these incidents happen right off the start, and it's just unfortunate. But, you know, as you said earlier, the quickest caution that we've had, and just two cars getting together. Luckily, it wasn't anything bigger in the middle of the pack, and, you know, we're going to have to watch for this later on as well.
That's going to slow things down. We're just shy of the halfway point, but while we work under the yellow flag, let's take this opportunity to take a look at our iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and more. At lap number 98, William Kempf is taking over the race lead in this one. Not sure how long that can last as far as where things sit on the strategy. Devin Morgan tucked in behind, exactly where he started in P P2. Matthew Murphy runs in third. He's picked up 14 spots and plus 23 spots for Travis Powell, who sits in the number 4 position. Seth the Merchant is still P5. You got Matt Cucker there, 6th. Christian Peterson, 7th. Those have been some of the fastest trucks as they look to try to break back through to the top couple of positions. Reese Bombs at a quiet night, but he's moved all the way up to P8. John Lade is 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is John Theodore.
John McNaka losing 1 position, P11. CJ Mason started 26th. He's up to P12. Paul Henley started 30th. Is now up to P13. Tommy Ryan, you saw a pole sitter and fallen all the way back to P14. James Trujillo, P15. Dustin Dean, P16. P17 goes to Nicholas Caldwell. Tom Morano, P18. P19, Bo Givens. And P20, Kenny Lowry.
Continuing on through 21st position in this one is Tyler Lugo. Vickery Randy Yoakum's 22nd. That is the final truck scored on the lead lap. 5 laps down, 23rd. James Milbachler, and 6 laps down, 24th for Sean Cross. Christopher Hussey's 25th. Brendan Wilkinson in 26th position. The rest of these trucks more or less out of this race. In 27th, Gabe Wood. Jeff Ryan, 28th, 29th, Dwayne Beverly, and 30th for Ryan Howard. Just to put a bow on the field here, 31st position, Jeremy Watkins. 32nd, Derek Paulson. And again, Kyle Anger is going to get a DNS in this race after qualifying top 10. That driver has not been able to get back into the session, and he'll round out the field in 33rd spot. That's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. And if you go to iRacing.com/membership, 40% off all new iRacing memberships. So if you're looking to get on the service, now is the best time to do so. That comes with all of the basic free content. Again, that's new memberships. Only more info at iRacing.com/membership. 101 now, 99 to go as we begin the countdown to the checkered flag from Thunder Valley, Tennessee. Green flag back in the air, and the control truck at the inside of the racetrack goes William Kemp. Morgan Good jump topside as he wants to fight for the race lead, and he's going to make it one down to turn 3.
Devin Morgan now getting to that door panel of the number 09 of William Kemp, able to get a good run off the corner, trying to give William Kemp the run for his money, and the 02 of Devin Morgan's really edging him out, and now, oh, good heavens, William Kemp almost goes up into the number 87 of Matthew Murray. That was a close call. Saw he was up there at that last second and backed off, but now here comes Seth the Merchant and Christian Peterson right behind each other, nearly making it 3 wide going into the corner. But here we go. They're coming up quick.
They're obviously putting themselves into a very good position. Outside is that highway line, and William Kemp, you can see, he's keeping himself in it. That's going to make it difficult for Seth the Merchant to get up and by him, who tucks down in line. The 87 of Matthew Murphy also right there side by side with Peterson. So the likes of Peterson and Merchant and Cucker, the names I mentioned there that were top 10, but they haven't been able to quite get back up front. They're now being forced to get creative because there's very little space up top, so they're trying their hand down low.
Yeah, and Seth the Merchant has just been pretty dominant down low. He's made a few passes, so I don't think that this will be any struggle for him. As you see Christian Peterson doing the same thing, following that same line, trying to get that same exact momentum down from him. And now Christian Peterson passing Seth the Merchant on that low line. What a slide job by him. And now we'll see if Seth the Merchant returns the favor. No, he doesn't. He's just going to let him keep on going.
Patience at a racetrack like this can be very difficult to come by, but definitely when you're talking about series veterans like a Seth the Merchant, you know, take your battles and pick them and choose your fights carefully, and there's no need to fight. Yes, we are getting down to the end of this, but a lot can happen, and if you just look at how this race had gone through the opening half, I'm sure plenty of opportunities to have some race starts still due up. The Merchant doesn't worry about it now. Again, he's in 4th. 4th tends to be a better restart spot than 3rd. Back on road 2, so just keep that in mind for the 57 machine as well. I'm not sure how big, if at all, that's playing a factor in his decisions, but it definitely is something to keep in mind. Merchant, though, was a little bit slow that time off of the quarter. I was worried about Murphy coming up on him, but the fight's going to be in front of them. Here comes Peterson on the inside of William Kemp. It's a fight for second, and the 23 going to try to work the inside slide job. Thought about it, and to back out, not enough.
And a little point that I'd like to make real quick, Sean Cross has pulled his car behind the wall, and as well as your pole sitter, Jeff Ryan has pulled his car behind the wall as well. As now you see Christian Peterson able to make a good, quick move on him. He's going to need one more corner to make it good, and we'll see if it happens. Yes, it does. Getting a little run off that corner, able to pass William Kemp. Now setting his sights on Devin Morgan. Seth the Merchant trying to make quick work of William Kemp as well.
Obviously, you want to rip the Band-Aid off and just get the pass done sooner rather than later. In the Merchant in the 57 machine trying to close into the bumper. I think Peterson was originally going to be content with staying behind Kemp. He tucked in line. He was okay with that. But then Devin Morgan started to check out once he got back to the race lead. He's now a second in front of Peterson. So Christian Peterson's watching the O2 check out and check out. Kemp isn't able to hold pace with him. Said, all right, I got to take control of this thing. Went on by and moved into the number 2 position. The Merchant still wanted to get by the Onana. Kemp hasn't been able to do so yet, and he might be feeling some pressure from Matthew Murphy behind as well.
Yeah, and he's getting really close. Seth the Merchant, 3 wide. Oh, that was an unexpected 3 wide, but now Seth the Merchant able to go into that top 3 position. Now you see them starting to deal with lap traffic, so we're going to have a lot more cars inside the mix coming up now.
You can see every...
trying to get to that
Devin Morgan's out in front leading this race. The O2 machine has been able to maintain the gap. I thought maybe when Peterson finally got up and around Kemp to second that he might have started to close things in, but that was not the case, and he is still leading by a little bit extra. Kemp has now fallen down to P6, so now you're starting to see the negative effects of not having those tires, so he will continue on and do the best he can up on the outside of the racetrack, but I think the thing that's balancing out the insides and the outsides is the fact that the guys making these moves are on those new tires and take
car. You see him starting to catch up on lap traffic right there as well, and Christian Peterson trying to catch up with Seth the Merchant. These guys have been a lot that we've talked about, and we've talked a lot about Christian Peterson and Seth the Merchant throughout this year, and I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot about them a lot more as the season goes on, but these guys have been the most dominant. You've talked about already all three races have been won by either one of them, so you know, it's going to be crazy to see the rest of this race and see how it works out, see if Christian Peterson can pull off a second win to match Seth the Merchant.
Well, he's got a big upper hand right now over the Merchant as well. Seth right now sitting 3.7 seconds off of the top spot. He is gaining a little bit on Morgan, but I think of those top 3 cars, Morgan in first, Peterson second, and the Merchant in third, I do think Christian Peterson has the best truck. Now, he's been able to knock off a couple of quick laps. He beat him by 0.2 that last time by, to bring the gap down between your race leader and second place runner to 0.9 of a second. But he's doing this without that lap traffic. Maybe Devin Morgan dealing with a lot of lap traffic now. Once the O2 gets by this, Peterson is going to have to deal with that traffic as well. It's going to slow him down in turn. But you can see the O2. Oh, there's contact spinner right in front of your race leader. And it is going to be a yellow. Tyler Lugo Vickery spins from 21st.
Yeah, he just got loose coming off of the corner, really got into the wall and then just could not keep it together after that. Very close call for Devin Morgan. I'm sure he's going to be a little heart rate happy after that, and you know, close call for him, but luckily it didn't take out anybody else but him.
off of the driver who actually had gotten into him, which was Kenny Lowry. The 24 spun down, and that was so dangerous because as he spun down to the inside, your race leader Devin Morgan made a move to the bottom of the racetrack to go 3 wide, and if that 24 machine had spun 2 seconds earlier or 2 seconds later, that truck would have bounced up and caught the O2 down on the inside of the racetrack. So Devin Morgan going to breathe a sigh of relief in that one. He is not going to be a big fan of the fact that we did get a caution flag, simply because he did at least still have a little bit of a gap over Christian Peterson, and again, Peterson was going to have to deal with the lap traffic, but I think Morgan will enjoy getting out of that very dangerous situation, and we'll group everybody back up for a restart inside of 70 laps to go in this race, but the O2 truck's still out in front in one piece.
Yeah, Devin Morgan's got to find a, quick way to get away from Christian Peterson and pull that gap again, but it's going to be hard for him to do it. Christian Peterson is always such a strong contender, and he'll have Seth the Merchant right behind him as well. So, the pressure of these two cars can really, throw someone off, as we've seen time and time before, as Matt Cucker also P4, John Lyday P5. So, it's going to be a really, really tight restart, and we'll see if Devin Morgan can hold him off for a little bit longer. Lap 132 coming to 67 to go, rather. Still got a little bit more racing to go.
And now these restarts going to become a little bit more critical because there is no more talking about drivers finding their spot, floating around, working on the race trim and whatnot, and I doubt it, but in theory, this race could go 65 laps to the end, and I would not even consider that a long run to the end of this thing because nobody's going to be thinking, you know what I really want to do? I think I'm going to conserve my tires. Here, you take the spot now, I'll get you later. No, everybody's going to be completely up and on the wheel, elbows up from this point on to the end. It's where things get very stressful, and we've seen a couple of torn up trucks so far. I have a feeling a couple more people are going to get on the hook before this one's done.
Without a doubt, as you were saying a few seconds ago, these drivers are not going to be a whole lot of giving. It's going to be a whole lot more taking. They're going to have to find their way to the front. They have to maybe do some beating and banging along the way, but that's Bristol. A lot of cars are going to be beating and banging, so it's going to be all the more exciting for everybody else coming to the checkered flag. But here we go, about to get that restart underway.
And we'll see just how many more opportunities we have at this. Remember when Seth the Merchant was in 4th? I said that played good for him. He passed Matt Cucker, so he's actually going to be on the inside of row 2 in 3rd. Cucker's going to be on the outside, therefore, in 4th. So I think it'll be interesting to watch who wins that battle. Outside should be the place to be. Devin Morgan chose the outside on these restarts all night long early on. But on this one, you see him down up on the inside of the racetrack as he chooses the lower line. He's the control truck. That's going to be what he uses to his advantage, and he gets a good jump. Morgan clear to turn number 1. It is going to be Peterson in 2nd. Watch that fight for 3rd as Cucker tries to work the outside onto Merchant. Can't clear him, but he's got a good look at it this time in 4th.
Cucker trying to make quick work of the Merchant, and he does. Now he's going to be able to, make quick, or try to make quick work of Christian Peterson to get him out of the way and focus on Devin Morgan. And Christian Peterson is focused on getting Devin Morgan and also holding off Matt Cucker. So it's a whole entire battle for Christian Peterson, and Devin Morgan has got himself a mirror full of trucks behind him, and he's just going to have to defend them all throughout the rest of this race.
If he's able to continue to take on all comers, Peterson is there. No longer has to worry about running down an 8 or 9/10 of a second advantage, and for a very brief moment, doesn't have to worry about lap traffic. That really helps out Devin Morgan here. He wants to get out, and I think, and get going as quickly as he can right out of the gate here, so that if we do go green long enough to catch more lap traffic, he doesn't have to be as nervous. He can maybe take it a little bit easier to make those moves and safely get around them. Although I would not be at all comfortable if Christian Peterson was sitting a mere truck length and a half off my bumper where he is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we come down to 50 laps, it's going to be about 10 to 11 more minutes of racing. So it's going to go by fairly quickly if we go green flag all the way around, but I don't think we will, because I don't think we're done beating and banging very hard just yet. All these drivers are going to want to get around each other as quickly as possible. You see Christian Peterson closing in as we have a yellow.
Peterson was about to make a move for the race lead, but there is a yellow for Randy Yoakum in the number 8 Chevrolet. Involved in an accident, he and John Theodore get together, and it was a slide job gone wrong. I don't actually think that Yoakum thought he was clear. We'll take a second look on this one. I think that he had realized that 84 was up there. I think he just did it too late. And he comes up on the 84. There's no way you could avoid that one. That's about the third or fourth time, Trevor, that we've seen an accident just like that, and it'll be what slows us down this time.
Yeah, and Randy Yoakum has been involved in quite a few, and that will be the one to give Randy Yoakum the black flag, and he is disqualified from this event as well. Now, Christian Peterson coming down pit lane to get service again for the last pit stop for the race. The
driver's going to be coming down, getting their last little bit of service. Obviously, the folks up front, though, I think going to want to stay out, protect that track position at this point. I think if it has you in the right spot on tires or not, I think you have to sleep in the bed that you've made for yourself and just kind of tough it out and race for it, old school. Just get after it, see what you can do. So we'll see if anything comes out of this, but I don't expect anybody up the front to be giving away spots. I just think, even though we have a lesser amount of trucks still on the lead lap, I think at this point, there's just not enough laps left, I think, to get anything back that you give away.
Yeah, absolutely. And Christian Peterson's now dropped to about P13, and he tried his hand, and now he's going to let Seth the Merchant have a run at Devin Morgan. So we'll see if Seth the Merchant has better luck and makes it three in a row for himself coming to the end of this race.
We'll see if DeMerchant can pull that out and get a winner from last month, won the second race of the season in Las Vegas. We were supposed to head to Iowa. That one has been postponed, and then DeMerchant technically won what was the third race that we took on the year, but round 4 on the calendar from USA International Speedway. That one that happened 2 weeks ago, so that's how DeMerchant sits at the top of the points and with back-to-back wins. And the good news is we go right back at things next Sunday night as well. First dirt race on the season. Not going to want to miss that one. Heat races, features, and all that fun stuff coming at you in 1 week's time, same place right here on LSR TV and iRacing Live as we go racing from Knoxville for round 6 of this 2018 American Pool Supply Truck Series powered by the Championship Esports Association. Not on the minds, though, with the drivers on track now. Still a little bit over a quarter of the way from home. It's going to fly by before you know it as the lights go back out on top of the pace car. Morgan, who was on the inside last time, wants the outside for this restart.
Yeah, and I had made a mistake earlier. Jeff Ryan had been the one that disconnected, not Tommy Ryan. Tommy Ryan has made his way back up to 6th place, all the way down from outside that top 10. So Tommy Ryan trying to make himself get back up into that pole position that he was in before.
We'll see if he can pick some spots up and get into that position. He really hasn't been up there since the very start of this race. Race lead was taken away from him rather quickly, and he hasn't been able to climb back up to the top of the scoring pylon since then. Green flag back in the air, and it is a good jump for Devin Morgan, who will take off, and he goes to the race lead in this one. Stays up front. DeMerchant safely in second. Nicholas Caldwell, how's that for a different name? The 28 truck started at 19th, uses the outside of row 2 to go to third.
What a great run by Nicholas Caldwell. He's still trying to keep up into that top 3 position with the 14 of Dean and Krahula right behind him. Now Seth the Merchant trying to find better luck on Devin Morgan, but Devin able to, predict the line that he's going to be able to, that he's running, and really just hold them off. So great running by Devin Morgan, and Seth the Merchant trying to get to the back of him as we have a little bit of contact coming out of turn number 2. That was very close between the 428 and 14, nearly all wrecked, but way to keep it off each other completely. I was very close.
And that was the 14 machine, really a Dustin Dean, who, I don't know if he was trying to avoid Caldwell, who lost some speed up top, but he made it 3 wide, and that would not have worked. And I think it's nothing short of a miracle that we don't have a ton of wrecked race cars in that pile. Caldwell still hanging on for third. Look at the 4 of Krahula, really trying to get on by. He'll get the spot this time through, as all of these drivers who have gained a significant amount of spots after we saw some drivers say that they wanted tires, but James Krahula 29th to 3rd. He's up 26 spots in a race high spot.
James Krahula not stopping now. He has a little bit of back end damage, but he's not letting that stop him. As we have less than 50 laps to go, it's go time for everybody. Nobody's giving an inch and everybody's taking an inch.
We'll see if anything else that shakes out in this one, but that was definitely a couple of hold your breath moments. 48 laps to go from the last great Coliseum. Do we see the likes of the drivers who took the fresh tires, the Christian Petersons of the world who run right now in 12th position, the Matt Cuckers who run in 10th? Is that going to be the right call, and are they going to be fast enough on this run to make up those positions that they gave up to come down and get tires? There is a wall, though, of trucks in front of Peterson right now that's going to be slowing his progress down. A lot going on outside the top 5.
Yeah, and it's again, nobody's wanting to give up anything, and William Kemp's still blocking that way of Tommy Ryan. And you're talking about it in the beginning stages of the race. If you have 2 wide in front of you, you really don't want to force that 3 wide issue. So you're just waiting around for a spot to open on the top or the low side. You see an evasive maneuver by Travis Powell, another name we've been talking about a lot this race. But you're just going to have to wait and sit and just try to find your way around in different ways. You see 3 by 2. Tommy Ryan nearly gets into the number 14 of Dustin Dean, but way to keep it off each other. It's such close racing going on right now.
It's exactly what you expect. No holds bar action late in the race from Bristol. Krahula in second, gonna make a play for the race lead at lap 158. Devin Morgan in the preferred line. It's gonna become the defensive line using the top side. He really needs to get off the corners well and keep that 4 behind him. If Krahula gets next to you, nothing puts you in a worse position than that at Bristol. He can rub you up, put you in the fence, hit you with a bump and run, and that's a bad exit right there for Morgan. You need to be able to nail coming off of the turn. Krahula can't clear yet, but he's right neck and neck.
That was just absolute perfect pressure by James Krahula, able to give Devin a little bit of a scare and have him mess up a little bit, gave him an inch a little bit, but Devin Morgan able to battle back on that high side and able to hold him off. 40 laps to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway. The action is just getting started.
The 4 machine again to the bumper. Try to maybe loosen the O2 up going into the quarter. Give him a little bit of a shot to that left rear of Devin Morgan. It's not the most intact part of that race truck tonight. Looks like he's had some sort of contact in that area up until this point. And again, all he can do right now is hold the top. The thing you're going to be concerned about if you're Krahula is the longer this takes me, the worse off I'm going to be. Seth the Merchant is only a little bit more than a half a second back. But the thing I'm watching is how fast is Matt Cucker. The fresh tires have moved him to 5th, but he's 3 seconds behind. That's going to be the big thing for Cucker to overcome, is that 3-second deficit. A yellow would really help those drivers. Krahula, though, I think more concerned with DeMerchant out the back end, but DeMerchant not really gaining right now, so maybe Krahula could back it off, reset, take a deep breath, and try again.
Yeah, I think that would be the perfect idea for Krahula, find it. Oh,
there it is. Caution gonna come out lap 161, and it is Bo Givens from 14th position. The 07 machine is around, and this one a little bit of help for the 87 Matthew Murphy. That was a battle for 13th gone wrong.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that. Battles are not going to stop, and people are just going to want to keep on battling hard as they see that the closing stages are coming upon us. So it's only going to get more and more intense from here, and I don't think we're done with cautions even after this one. You saw how many battles were going on, and just a thing of driver coming up, driver coming down, and just got tagged a little bit.
Racing incident for sure. It's exactly what you would expect to see here at Bristol. That's going to give a couple of wave buys. But again, the big thing I think here is this really helps Matt Cucker. On the fresh tires, I wasn't sure that coming down pit road was going to be the right call. Cucker, Peterson both made it. Christian got a little bit stalled, though. He'll end up at about 9th spot. But Cucker is going to be in a top 5 position for this restart and with a significant tire advantage.
Yeah, and it's going to be really, really difficult to see how Devin Morgan will be able to hold off all of these trucks behind him coming to this restart. And, it's going to be interesting to see how all these drivers are stacking up and setting their sights on a different kind.
side by side towards the front of the field. We'll see if anything else is to come from this one. Of course, a lot of drivers got a wave by there, so it looks like the likes of Caldwell, McNaughton, 19th and 20th, they're all going to be able to get themselves back to the lead lap in this race. And I think a problem late in this one for your race leader, the O2 with Devin Morgan. There was an incident. Looks like it was, well, we had the caution flag, and then the O2 machine was okay. He decided to come down pit road, though. So Devin Morgan, recognizing that maybe with Matt Cucker, had himself in a position where, hey, Matt's got the fresher tires, I'm at a big disadvantage, and he makes an audible call here. So Morgan is going to pit, give up the race lead, and restart in 11th. And I'm still sticking with what I said earlier, that you got to sleep in the bed that you made. I don't know if that's going to be the right call.
It's an interesting call. You have 30 laps to go, and you're all the way down to P10 now. So we'll see how that works out, and you have to work through Christian Peterson, James Krahula, Matt Cucker, and it's going to be hard to see how this works out for him in the end.
I think the biggest thing here is when Matt Cucker was catching up to Morgan, Cucker had significantly fresher tires than Morgan. Now, obviously, the O2 pitted. His tires are newer than those of the Cuckers and the Petersons, but they're not as significantly better. So I don't think you can expect as much of a lap-by-lap turnover on times compared to what Cucker was able to do a little bit earlier. Lights out on top of the pace car. This one might get extended, and it does, so the lights are going to come back on as we are waiting on Tyler Lugo Vickery to get waved by. He's having difficulty understanding that instruction for the time being. Now the 24 car is going to go on by, and he is going to be able to get back to the lead lap, but I don't see this paying off for Morgan. I know that you know you hate to be a sitting duck, and who knows how this one plays out, but it's going to be very difficult for him to come from 9th position is where he'll end up for this restart to catch up to those guys.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around how this is going to work out for him, but, you know, crazier things have happened at Bristol. You know, you saw earlier on this race, a couple cars stayed out. I believe it was a 5-car total that stayed out, and everybody else behind them pitted. It took a while for their tires to heat up and be able to give them a little bit more of a chance to get inside of that top position. I believe it took maybe 15 laps, so he won't have a lot of time to make something happen if it does happen.
Lights go out on top of the pace car. Let's try this one again. 29 laps to go. This time around, we will see what is still to come, as it'll be a Krahula and the Oneida Kemp on the front row, but it is old James Krahula. Fantastic jump. I think William Kemp needs to be a little bit more awake at the wheel. So Krahula will take a couple of truck lengths of a lead. He'll be first. Kemp second. Cucker in third. Watch the 69 on the fresh tires. Watch Devin Morgan way in the back. The O2 on the freshest tires. Short run with a quick yellow.
And as I said before, we were not done seeing all these yellows happen. And it's just going to slow him down, and I don't think it'll be much benefit to Devin Morgan going out throughout the rest of this race.
A lot of trucks involved in this one, and the 14 machine, we mentioned earlier that we saw a 3-wide scenario with a 14 truck in the middle of it all. That was Dustin Dean, and he almost wrecked a bunch of trucks that time, and he decides to make it 3-wide again, and 4-wide, in fact, with the 57 on the inside, and he didn't do it the first time, so Dustin Dean tried again, and he finally wrecked a bunch of trucks. The second time he went 3-wide was the charm, and it's late at Bristol, but that's never going to work.
You know, you have to use your head a little bit more. You know, it's late in the race, and you're coming down to the final laps, and, you know, use your head a little bit more, and I don't think the Adams will be happy about that one.
Obviously, yellow flag is going to come out for that one. A lot of trucks were bouncing off of each other in that exchange, and it slows this down pretty quickly. Just like you said, though, I think that Devin Morgan cannot afford that. It's the opposite of what Matt Cucker needed. Matt Cucker needed the yellow because he was 5th. He had gotten to the point where he was in front of everybody but those very fast cars. Morgan still has to get around 4 or 5 cars. I think that he's faster than. That's not a knock against Peterson or Lyday or Powell right now. Peterson just hasn't had the speed that he had earlier on in this race, but I think that he definitely needs to get that little bit extra, get those 2-3 more positions, and to be able to get back up and get into position for this one.
Yeah, and James Krahula able to sit pretty right now, having a little bit more confident. You know, it's not good for Devin Morgan, but it's a little bit better for James Krahula. He's going to be able to have another restart, get a little bit more away, and not have to deal with lap traffic for a little bit longer.
It'll be Krahula, Kempf, and Cucker. Powell on row number 2. Again, that could be very big for the 55. We talked about the advantages of starting on the outside. Thought maybe, Trevin, we talked about the dynamic track surfaces. Of course, over the course of a run, rubber gets put down on track. That maybe that would spread things out a little bit. I still stand by that the outside is the better place to be. The outside has definitely come into its own, so I'd give a slight edge to the outside, but I think on restarts is where that top is so good. So Krahula, choose the outside, going to be a good spot. And if Powell can get a good restart, I don't think the damage is going to hold it back. If he can get in front of Cucker, that would be huge for him as well.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you. This top line is really working out well for everybody else. You know, the bottom line is, you know, it's somewhat working out for everybody, but that top line is really where everybody's prevailing a little bit more. And, you know, especially during this nighttime race, it's going to be exciting.
Under the lights from Bristol Motor Speedway, getting set for another restart. We get the drum roll again. This one's going to be with 24 laps to go. We'll see how long they get on this one and just exactly how this will play out. Pace car down this time. Krahula, as we suspected, does choose the outside of the racetrack for the restart. It'll be the United William Kempf down low. And then from there on back, the complete running order going across at the top of your screen. Pace car down and in. The 4 goes to just about exactly as he did last time. But look at the 40, or the 55, I should say, of Powell. The outside of row 2, masterful as he goes all the way to second.
And now we have a whole new battle going on. Travis Powell versus James Krahula. It's going to get more intense. For now, Christian Peterson knocking on that back door, now going down low below Travis Powell, and he's going to be able to make the pass now, setting his sights on James Krahula.
Krahula's the one with the target on his back as he sits at the very front of the field there. Powell, though, starting to slip back into traffic. Here comes Christian Peterson now. He's broken through to second, and he'll go to the inside of the racetrack, side by side for the race lead. 21 laps to go from Bristol. He can't clear him. Krahula stays in front, but he gets the wall. So still side by side, Peterson putting on the pressure.
There is everybody going everywhere. We just had 3 wide going into turn number 3 a second ago. That was Matt Cucker making his way through that little Powell Kempf thing, and it's just going crazy.
And still side by side for the lead. In fact, side by side for second. Here comes Devin Morgan. I didn't think it would work on the tires, but prove me wrong. Here he comes. He passes the 69 of Matt Cucker, who is going to catch him if he did not make that call. He moves into third, and they are still side by side for the race lead. 17 laps to go this time around. Krahula still not giving up topside, and if the 23 isn't careful, here comes the O2 of Oregon slinking up top. He might be able to swipe away second from underneath him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking that he might go 3 wide for a second there. You know, this is last-ditch effort kind of stuff. You have less than 20 to go, and you don't really have a lot more time to do it in. You see the 0-2 of Devin Morgan right behind James Krahula. He's not really able to go to the bottom, but now here comes Matt Cucker as well above the number 23, but Devin Morgan able to cross over and make a slide job on James Krahula coming into turn number 1.
The Ford machine wants to get back at it, but the fresh tires are too much. And how about that call by Devin Morgan? Had my doubts, but the O2 silences that thought, and he rockets to the race lead at 15 laps to go. And I just don't see anybody being able to catch him with the speed that he's showing at the moment. Still going to be a great fight for second. Matt Cucker trying to get around the Ford of Krahula. This is about what would have been the battle between Cucker and Morgan if we had stayed green on that last run. Again, the Ford did not pit like Devin Morgan did, and that ended up being the right call because he's significantly faster than the rest of the field.
We both stand corrected. Devin Morgan with a fantastic run throughout the rest of this field, making it all the way up to first position. That was a great call. James Krahula just watching the lead go away from him very quickly. Christian Peterson with a great effort, but wasn't able to get the job done in time, and now his tires are kind of limping a little bit, I can see.
Just trying to maybe limp home to the end of this race as we come inside of 11 laps to go from Bristol. Still an opportunity for another yellow, another restart. Devin Morgan doesn't want any of that, but if they keep racing like they are for second, would not at all be surprised if that's the result we get. Everybody still clawing at one another. The fight between second, third, and fourth is a 3/10 of a second battle. You could throw a blanket over all of those trucks right now. Good fight between Kempf and Merchant for 5th and 6th as 57 comes down low.
Yeah, and we have about 2.5 minutes of this race left to go, so get ready. You know, these guys are all battling hard. They know it's less than 10 to go, so we'll have to see how it works out as well. Battle for 5th position, set the Merchant below William Kemp, trying to get that last position before the checkered flag flies.
We'll see if anybody's going to be able to get that little bit extra. Kempf is doing a good job of hanging on the outside of the racetrack, and the Merchant has had to drop back in line behind him and wait to in the number 6 position overall. You got the 6 and Tommy Ryder right there as well. Oh, these spots, there's a spinner back in the pack. It's Caldwell. Caution, and there's a lot of trucks in this one. I was scrolling through, and out of the corner of my eye, we've got big problems on the back straightaway.
Talk about a shakeup. Wow, I don't even know what to say. This last caution, I believe that we're going to have enough laps left to get a restart going.
We're going to go back green, and Caldwell at his own fault here was trying to undercut the 84 to Theodore. Theodore goes to block. Caldwell walks right down across the nose of the one above, and that's the truck that I saw break sideways out of the corner of my eye. Next thing I know, we've got 4 or 5 trucks spinning down the back straightaway. All drivers who were outside of the top 9 or so, but that's still a bunch of lead lap trucks torn up, and I think just like you said, the most important takeaway is another restart, and it'll be the final one inside of 5 to go.
This is what Bristol is all about. Just this is exactly what it is. You know, we weren't able to see this today, unfortunately, because of the weather, but you guys are getting to see it on LSR TV, and there's no other way that I'd rather be spending my Sunday night.
The driver's got to get down and out of the way, wait for our own truck to come on through. But a couple of close calls there. Second time, Tyler Lugo Vickery had some trouble getting through. Drivers had to be reminded to get down onto the inside of the racetrack so that he could obviously work by on the top and get back to the lead lap. He'll go from 2 laps down to 1 lap down, so he is still off of the lead lap as they sit right now. Another thing I've noticed is the yellow flag laps and the yellow flag cycles, if you will, Trevor, tonight feel like they've been about a lap or 2 longer than usual, and it is a shorter track, so you don't get as much time at a yellow, so maybe you need an extra lap or 2 to be able to get through the complete cycle. So this one might not restart until we get down to closer to 2 to go.
Yeah, and you know, whatever the case may be, it's not going to be a lot of laps. You know, obviously it's not, but especially at a 0.5 mile of a track, it's not going to be a lot of laps to get something done. You need to get it done in either turn 1 or turn 2, or set them up at least, and you know, you got to be right on the bumper for that restart.
Survey says this time by, lights on top of the pace car will stay on, so that means it will not be 3 laps to go. If they go at the next time by, it'll be 2 laps to go. That's the big thing to keep in mind. This looks like 17 drivers are scored on the lead lap total. Race Control is reminding everybody, though, that if we do not make it to the white flag, there is overtime procedure, not in the iRacing service. It would be unofficial, and of course, we would have to give you the unofficial results as it works out. Race Control will update the scoring and all of that to make sure that it is correct, but there is an unofficial overtime system in play with this Championship Esports Association of American Bull Supply Truck Series, if necessary. That's the key word, because the lights go out on top of the pace car. And this race is going to have 2 laps. It is going to be a green, a white, and a checker. If we get that far, that's the caveat. If we get that far to decide this race here from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Pace car headed down. Devin Morgan's got the fresher tires, and he has the preferred lane as he will restart on the outside of the racetrack. Can James Krahula or somebody pull a rabbit out of the hat and seal the win here tonight from Bristol, Tennessee? Pace car in, looking for 2 laps to go. Morgan's out of it.
Great jump by Morgan. That's exactly what he needed. Christian Peterson trying to get around him. This is going to be a fantastic last few laps. Getting so close. Matt Cucker almost to the back bumper of James Krahula. Christian Peterson able to make that pass for second.
He's going to get to the white flag. That's the biggest thing. No matter what, now we race it out to the end. And how about Devin Morgan? Questionable strategy, but it ended up being a stroke of brilliance. And he'll come out at turn number 4, and he tames Bristol Motor Speedway. Devin Morgan, first win on 2018.
We all questioned his strategy, but at the end of the day, it paid off for Devin Morgan. What a run by that kid. Started second and P1. So, you know, we're going to watch him burn it down, and he deserves every second of it.
Got some celebrating to do. Devin Morgan, a fantastic run here tonight. Blaze the Goliaths of Christian Peterson and Seth the Merchant, who would have been the only drivers to win this season. They have to take the bridesmaid spots tonight with Peterson second, Merchant in third. And Devin Morgan, it's his first trip to victory lane on this 2018 season. It's Bristol, so he's got to head to the rooftop where victory lane is. We'll take an opportunity to step aside, and we will catch up with him in a moment. For the LSR TV post-race show when we return, you're watching the American Pool Supply Truck Series and LSR TV. Your home for sim racing at iRacing live post-race from Bristol in a moment. This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV, and it may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Back live from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Happy that you're hanging out with us for the LSR TV post-race show following tonight's Bristol 200. 4 races now completed on this American Pool Supply Truck Series campaign, and Devin Morgan gets his first race win of the year. He's down trackside with us at victory lane. We'll get to him in a moment. But first, as always, as we hook you back topside into the LSR TV booth, Evan Pasoko, Trevin Valderrama with you with Cisco Scaramuza downstairs. We take a look top to bottom at our LSR TV full race results. Devin Morgan started this one from second, went to the race lead early, but it was the late race tire call that gets him the checkered flag in this one on top of Christian Peterson and Seth the Merchant. All of our top 3 finishers standing by with us momentarily. Matt Cucker had a very eventful evening, but finishes exactly where he started in the number 4 spot. William Kemp rounds out your top 5, and James Krahula locks up biggest mover, the hard charger for him at plus 23 spots over the course of the night. Tommy Ryan, your pole sitter, falls to 7th. Matthew Murphy comes home at 8th position. 9th is John Lyde, and John Theodore rounds out your top 10.
Nicholas Caldwell was in the mix for a second. He finishes P19. P12 goes to Travis Powell. CJ Mason, P13, John McNaka. P14, P15, Tom Morano. P16, Reese Baham. P17 goes to Paul Henley. P18, Tyler Lugo Vickery. P19, Kenny Lowry and James Milbacher. P20.
Top 17 of those names were on the lead lap. Continuing on through at this point, you're out of the race or in a couple of different pieces, but the 21 of Bo Gibbons, Bo Gibbons comes home in 21st position. He's the 07. Christopher Hussey comes home in 22nd spot. Dustin Dean, 23rd. Randy Yoakum, 24th and 25th for Brandon Wilkinson. Sean Cross is 108 laps down in 26th spot. Jerry Watkins, Gabe Wood, Jeff Ryan, and Dwight Beverly, 27, 28, 29, and 30. 31st for Ryan Howard, and Derek Paulson rounds out the field in 32nd spot. That's a look top to bottom at your LSR TV full race results. We'll go down trackside and get a word with the driver of the O2 machine, Devin Morgan, your race winner tonight from the Bristol Motor Speedway. He's down with us at victory lane. Devin, congratulations on the win. First and foremost, that decision to come down and get those tires with about 50 laps to go. We questioned it, wasn't sure if you were going to be able to get through the traffic in time, but it absolutely worked.
Yeah, the strategy was really good. The outside lane got moving there, and we were able to get through the traffic pretty good.
Did you know that that was going to be the case, or was it a little bit of a gamble? Because we had obviously seen the cycle before that. Matt Kunker came in, he got fresh tires, and he would have been 5th behind you. Was that one of the reasons as well why you decided to come down?
No, I just knew that we might not get another caution there, and that would be the time that I'd need to come in.
Tell us about the speed that you had in the O2 machine. You guys started in second position. Obviously, it means you got a lot of speed in the tank, but you guys went to the race lead pretty quickly. It looked like you guys were successful when you were aggressive.
Yeah, on the fresh tires, I could get rolling there. On the long runs, I wasn't quite as good. I fell back to 5th at one point. But I think the strategy that we did, it was a short run there at the end, fresh tires. I knew I could push it as hard as I wanted to and not have to hold anything back, and then it really paid off for us.
Bristol's often regarded as one of the more difficult tracks, and in this series, I think that nobody is surprised when they see the likes of Christian Peterson and Seth the Merchant up there coming into tonight. They were the only 2 drivers to find a win. To beat them in a race like this that took the grit of Green Flag Racing, but as well took that little bit of strategy to set things up. How's that feel?
It feels good. Peterson and Merchant and Kucker, I have a whole lot of respect for all of them. They're all real good drivers, really fast, no matter what car they're in or what track they're at. So it's definitely a pretty big deal to outrun them, especially at such a tough track like Bristol.
We spent a lot of time talking about how this season is going to look as far as races upcoming, and it gets interesting in 1 week's time. First trip to the dirt on Knoxville. How do you prepare for a race like that compared to an asphalt race at Bristol?
I guess run dirt with the truck as much as possible, which I don't think there's really too much you can do to prepare for it, because you don't know what setup's going to be like since you have to adjust for it. But I'm a dirt guy, so I'm excited for that and looking for a good run there.
We'll let you take off, Devin. You guys had to work hard for this one. Before we do, though, the sponsors and the shout-outs, anybody you want to say hi to for getting this W?
I got to thank American Pool Supply, LSR TV for broadcasting, Spotter Wilkes, Scott Eckridge Chassis, Magdal Motorsports, your boy James Designed, the coolers, and more. And I got to say, it sucks Brandon. It sucks that he got taken out for 2 weeks straight by the same guy.
We appreciate you giving us some time here post-race to chat, Devin. Again, congratulations on the win, and best of luck going into Knoxville next week. We'll be looking for you up front.
Thank you.
The race winner tonight for the Bristol Motor Speedway, Devin Morgan gets the win. Christian Peterson, oh so close in this one, comes home second, and Trevin's down trackside with the drive of the 23.
Down here with a familiar face and a post-race interview, Christian Peterson started P5 up to P2. Christian, those last few laps on that restart, what were you thinking? What was going through your head? And, were you trying to get to that front?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good spot on 4th with Devin taking the outside there on the last restart with a couple laps to go, and Seth behind me. Seth said he was going to give me a pretty good shot, and I figured that made me give Devin a shot, and hopefully he would fire on that, and I'd get a good jump on Kahula and be side by side with him, and that happened. So that's all happened, and yeah, we'll take on P2.
Absolutely, and back-to-back short track races, obviously very different. Coming from a paper clip type track from USA to Bristol, how are you really getting your mental mindset ready for the last great Coliseum?
To be honest, I just put together a whole new rig, everything. We just moved down to Kentucky, so everything's kind of a little brand new, but we managed, and I don't know, it was really fun, and I'm a little disappointed. Bristol is one of my really good tracks, and USA was too, but a lot of seconds lately, but we'll take it.
Absolutely, and anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, sponsors, anybody who gets a job done for you?
Just everybody at CEA, everybody at LSRTV. You guys do an awesome job. It's really fun to be a part of this league and be broadcasting on your channel and all that. And just everybody at Team Vincier, Six Man Race Cars, everybody, all the guys there.
All right, thank you. We'll let you get back to celebrating with your teammates, and that's Christian Peterson down pit road now. The third place position, started third, finished third. The number 57, another familiar face down here for post-race interviews, Seth the Merchant. Seth, what was really your strategy coming into tonight's event?
Just to get off strategy, it's very tough to pass here, and we were all, I feel like, very even up front. And I saw Christian and Cooker, they all went down and pitted, and I saw Devin stay out, and I figured I would go on the second half of the strategy and go for the fresher tires at the end of the race. Maybe see if we could get lucky and maybe be able to have a long enough run to get up through the traffic like we needed. But, it worked out. Got up to third, and Devin got up to first. Seemed like our strategy was the best, and yeah.
Absolutely. We see your faces always up front and always dominating. Now, we've been talking a lot about this throughout this season. First dirt race at Knoxville coming up. What are you going to be doing to preparing yourself? It's definitely a different track surface, and how are you going to do it?
Just practice running the cushion. That's right now with the way the iRacing is right now. It's really, really strong. So see a lot of trucks single file up against the wall, throwing big time sliders.
It's going to be an exciting one for sure. Any sponsors and shout-outs who gets the job done for this 57 machine?
Just Peterson Irrigation for being on the truck, all the guys at Vincier Racing tonight, and congrats to Devin on the win.
Absolutely. Thank you for talking to us. Evan, back to you.
Well, big thanks as always, top three finishers, for chatting with us post-race. And this would, of course, Devin Morgan, your race winner, and Christian Peterson and Seth the Merchant. Obviously, Trevor, a big step for Devin Morgan to get that race win tonight, but not going to make up much ground if Peterson and the Merchant, when they don't win, are coming home in second and third. So still a great outing for those two, despite the fact that Morgan got him on strategy this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And this race, all in all, was a fantastic race to watch. 200 laps here is never disappointing to watch. And next week, Knoxville, it's going to be an exciting one, and I hope you're all there to watch it with us, because it's going to be it's not going to have any shortment of excitement.
No holds bar for sure, and it's not the only dirt track that we're going to have on this 2018 calendar as well. So going to be a lot more of exciting action like such coming up, but we definitely hope that you're with us in 1 week's time next Sunday as this series returns. The good news is, though, you don't have to wait until next week to catch more live sim racing action right here on LSR TV at iRacing Live, because finally back tomorrow night on Monday, the April the 18th, the Full Throttle Real Sim Racing Cup Series powered by English Auto LLC is back. All of that starts at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Wednesday, another new series kicks off. It is the Championship Esports Association Weekly Dirt Series. That one is at 9 on Wednesday. And then as we head towards the weekend, Friday nights is the Sunwest Construction Super Speedway Cup Series, always at 9 Eastern. And our Saturday night doubleheaders, Outlaw Modifieds at 9, USR Trucks at 10. It is a full week of action here on LSR TV and iRacing Live. You can find a full look at our upcoming broadcast schedule by going to our website at www.livesimracing.com. You can also stay up to date with us on social media by liking us on Facebook at facebook.com/LSRTV official and by following us on Twitter at LSRTV. Until next time, though, on behalf of the entire team at Live Sim Racing LLC, for the folks behind the scenes, Laura Lawson, and everybody else who's up in the booth night in and night out who makes everything happen, for the team tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Trevin Valderrama, and our producer, Cisco Scaramusa, I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate Devin Morgan, first win for him on 2018. The series is back next Sunday, April the 22nd, as we go dirt racing from Knoxville Speedway. That race and every race of this 2018 American Bull Supply Truck Series can be found right here on LSR TV and iRacing Live. Until next time, good night from Bristol.